Today I'm going to talk about our chickens. We've got chickens inside the house, which I don't recommend, and chickens outside the house. We free-ranged our chickens. Now we got new baby chickens that we're keeping cooped up because we have new predators this year. I'll get into all of that, but I kind of just wanted to share with you what we got going on with the chickens and what's worked and what hasn't. We've been doing this for a year now, and I did not grab my stick because we have this one rooster, which I have shown y'all about, that loves to attack. We have one sweet rooster and one just like gangster rooster. I had to find something to protect myself. All right, but first let me show you the chickens outside and how our little coop setup is. It's just temporary for now. We're working on getting something bigger. I just really wanted to get the chickens that were in the house. We have some juvenile baby ones. I wanted to get them out of the house. Oh my God, why is this rooster like getting closer to me? I don't have a weapon yet. Hold on. Get this stick. I got a stick. Back up. We're trying to rehome him. Anyway. So the chicken coop that we have now is just temporary because I wanted to get the small ones out of the house, and because it was just getting gross. So I'll kind of show you what we got going on. So let's meet the chickies, the baby chickies. Don't come out. They're ready to break for it. Okay, so these like perfectly looking white ones we got from Tractor Supply. We got 8 of them, and those are actually hens. So we know those are hens. Now, there's 2 that we hatched from the incubator. Oh, those are guineas over there. We got 4 guineas. Those will just run around free though, because you can't really coop them. They eat all the bugs and stuff, but they're super loud. I've heard just like annoyingly loud, and just do whatever they want. So we only got 4 to start them. And then that like salty looking one back there, cut the black and white. And then this, where are you? This black and white one, those we hatched in our incubator from our big brown hen that's back there. No, you go back. Stop. Don't. You're not coming out. Some of these chickens are really brave. Let me close this door for them. That one's really trying to make a run for it. So let's see. Back here, you can see through here is, oh, their house has a 2nd floor, by the way. This is where we were locking them up at night. That door slides. And then that cord is the brooder light. So they would be locked up on the 2nd floor at night, staying warm. But now it's warmed up, so we don't really need it anymore. So I'm going to take it out. And that brown hen back there, she's our original hen. We've had her for a year. And we have separated her from these guys because we want them to just kind of start to get used to each other. So when these are bigger, they can all just be one big happy family, and this way they can see each other, get to know each other. If we just let them in there with her, and I've already tried, she tried to peck them to death. She just kept like pecking them on the head, so I had to separate them. And so she's staying in here right now because that really mean rooster, he has tried to hurt her pretty bad. When he mates with her, he's super rough. So we wanted to separate her. So she's in that little enclosure by herself, and that dog kennel is her nesting box right now. She just goes back and forth with these chickens and guineas. She just still is not feeling them. Like, look at her just pecking. So I don't know how they're gonna get along once they're all together. But right now, to keep the babies out of the house and safe from predators, they are in here. He's back. Okay, where's my weapon? Got a tiki torch. All right, so a little bit about what's kind of around the coop, I guess. There's a ton of sand because it rained really hard one day and there was just water puddled everywhere. And so I just brought in a bunch of sand, and that has really helped with the like kind of flooding and water pooling. And I got these 2 trash cans that I got from Lowe's. And one has all of the like cedar chips, the bedding that goes in the coop, and the other has their food. And I have to bungee cord it and put a brick, because if I don't, the squirrels and raccoons get in it. So here I have the chick feed for the baby chickies and the regular food for the bigger ones. And then I also have this oyster shells. It's for our hen, our one egg-laying hen, because she's the only one of age, because she needs calcium to really lay an egg every day, and that helps her. And here is where I originally had the food, but as you can see, the squirrels chewed into it. So it was in this plastic bin, but then once they started chewing, I had to move it into these trash cans, and these have worked great. With the bungee cord and the brick, I have no problems. And the squirrels are out here all the time. Every morning there's like 5 or 6 all here on the ground, because I throw out food for the 2 roosters. So they're eating that up. And then there's some water for the roosters, so they don't have to try so hard and find water. I'm looking for a safe space where these roosters cannot get me. I'm gonna come up here in this little makeshift treehouse platform. Okay, this should be good. Yes, I can see them coming. So what have I learned from having chickens for a year? This might be too windy to do out here. Here's the chickies inside. They are still too young to go outside. So, and these are the only brown ones we have. So we have 4 that hatched from the incubator. They're both black and white. 2 of them. And then these 2 hatched at the same time, and they're both brown. We call them the twins. We don't really interact with these guys as much, but there's your food and water. And then we got this big old thing from Tractor Supply. And of course the little brooding lamp from Tractor Supply. The kids haven't really named these guys yet. TikTok, I think, was one name. But I just call them the twins. All right, let's talk chickens. What I have learned for doing this for about a year. And I think, so I don't get all like scatterbrained, I'll just start from the beginning. So we bought a chicken coop and about a year ago, and it was just sitting outside and not getting any use. And then one day I was like, hey, let's go see if we can buy some chickens on Craigslist, which was not the best idea. So I looked through Craigslist, and lo and behold, there was somebody selling chicks. It was a couple hours away, and me and the kids and my boyfriend, we all got in the truck and we headed on down to go get the chickens. Well, the conversation I had had with the person selling them was just through text messages. And when I got there, they didn't speak no English, they didn't speak no Spanish, so there was no way for me to communicate with her. She just came outside, and they had like dogs and cows and chickens and ducks and just like all sorts of stuff just everywhere on this place. And she came out with this big cardboard box, and she just kind of was just like, you know, handed it to us. Here, take what you want. And there was a bunch of baby chicks inside. I didn't even think to ask, are they roosters or are they hens, boys or girls? I just, for some reason in my head, just thought that chickens are chickens, and she was just selling me chickens, and we're gonna have chickens that lay eggs. It never crossed my mind to ask about roosters. So we all picked a chick each. So we got 5 baby chicks, and we get home and they start getting bigger and bigger. And we realize that some are cockadoodle doing, that noise, that cockadoodle. Anyway, yeah, hens don't do that. And we ended up having 4 roosters and only 1 hen. So that's the first thing I would say, is just don't go buying chickens off Craigslist. And also, you know, reading later on, find out you don't want to just be getting animals from anybody you don't know, because what if they have disease, and it's, you know, it could be a problem. So when we had the first 5 baby chickens, I was just like, oh, let them run free. It's fine. You know, they're wild animals. They'll be good. And my boyfriend was like, no, there's predators. Stuff will eat them. He had a bad experience apparently years ago with some ducks he bought, and a raccoon got into the enclosure and just like obliterated the baby ducks. So, but I was just like, no, let them run around. So we did that, and we have a lot of bushes and stuff near the house and places for them to get in and hide, and they were fine. But the problem was that as they were growing up, just doing whatever they wanted, they didn't really acclimate to the coop. So I could never get these 5 original chickens to go in the coop and stay the night. And I think because of that, as our hen got older and started laying eggs, she started laying them all over the property, and she wouldn't go in the nesting box, and it turned into an everyday Easter egg hunt for this one egg. And she had like a few spots around the property that she would like to lay her eggs, so we kind of, you know, figured it out. But still, that was just annoying, having to go hunt for an egg every day from her. So I really kind of regretted letting them just run around and not making them stay in that coop and really feel like that was home, because they just really didn't like get into it. They just did their own thing. They never used that coop. So with the ones we have now, we bought the 8 hens from Tractor Supply, and that's what I'd recommend. Just go get you some chickies from Tractor Supply, because you know what the girls are, you know what the boys are, and then they have this other bin that's like mixed. It's like grab bag. They're a little cheaper, but it's like, you know, surprise if you don't care. But we definitely got the 8 hens, and then we also got the 4 guineas, which I talked a little about that earlier. And I have this idea about keeping them here on our property, because they will do whatever they want. The baby guineas are growing up with the baby chickies. So I'm hoping that they feel like that's part of their flock and they want to all stay together. And what I'm going to do is, as they get a little bit older and can actually run around on their own and be okay, nothing's going to hurt them, I'll take 1 guinea out of the chicken coop and let it run around, and then keep the other 3 locked up so that it knows it has to come back, and it's not just going to run off because it wants to be with its other, you know, siblings or whatever, its friends, its flock. And then put that one back in at the end of the day, and then the next day take another one out, let it kind of run around. But they'll want to just kind of stay on the property. That's kind of what I'm going to try and do. Hopefully that works. But I just don't want to have them immediately free ranging, because like I said, my other 5 just didn't get the concept of the coop, and were sleeping in trees, and they really like to sleep in trees and just wherever they wanted. And our hen's laying eggs wherever she wants. So I'm really on these guys about staying in the coop. And the 2 that we hatched from the incubator, they're in there too. So really our flock is, the way they're all everywhere, is 2 roosters running around. The hen's in her own cage, the hen that lays the eggs, and then the babies are in their own little coop, and then we have the 2 babies indoors. And then once they get a little bit older, the 2 indoors, we'll move them, acclimate them to the flock outside, the juveniles. And then once those all get big, then hopefully they will just be one big happy family. We'll see how it goes. But I've definitely noticed with our hen, to get her to lay an egg every day, it helps if she gets mealworms. We feed our chickens mealworms, and live ones, not the dead ones, because you could get this stuff, it's called like Flock Party, I think, or something, mealworm something from these feed stores, and they're like dead or dried, or they're not moving mealworms, and I don't like those. We actually go to like the pet store and get live mealworms, and sometimes crickets. They don't really care for worms that much, but they love mealworms. And so when the hen gets mealworms and then calcium, which I buy the oyster shells for calcium, when she gets both of those and then her regular food, she is just like on point with laying an egg every day. And I've noticed when she doesn't get those things, she can go a day, 2 or 3 without laying eggs. And when she was really stressed out with the rooster, when he was just like being too rough on her, she stopped laying too. So it really is true that when they're happy and getting what they want, they will lay an egg every day. And so what works for us is just keeping her happy and giving her calcium and the mealworm so she gets plenty of protein. Let's see, what else have I learned? Oh, yeah. So last year we didn't have predators, but this year, I guess, word got out and these predators have just come. So last week, about a week ago, there was every bit of 6 feet, a rat snake crawling up the coop, just completely up and down. And he was trying to get into it to eat the baby chickies, the juveniles. So we have rat snakes, so I'd really make sure your coop is locked up. And then there's this raccoon that someone said that they saw last night. So now we got raccoons to worry about. And that's what really kind of scares me, is because those raccoons are tricky. So we're going to go and get a trap from Tractor Supply and try to trap him, because that raccoon will obliterate my little chickies. So also we were incubating some of the eggs from our hen, who was, the fertilized eggs. And I don't know, unless you're going to do like big volume, it really wasn't worth it. We got so many eggs from her and so many just didn't hatch. And then like 2 were hatching and then just died. And it was just a lot of work, and incubators are not cheap. So we probably won't do any more of that. And especially not when it's cold out, like not in the fall, not in the winter. And that's when we happen to incubate our eggs and they hatch. I would not do it until it's hot outside, because the babies, when they're first born, they have to stay in the incubator for about 2 days. And then when they dry out and get all fluffy, then you can move them into the brooder box, where you kind of saw mine set up. It has a heat lamp. And that's cool and all if you have 1 or 2. But when you start having more, there's this weird like chicken dust that just appears. I don't know what it is, if it's from them, if it's from their food, I don't know. But that mess got everywhere. I have a wine rack, and now I have to go through and like Lysol the whole thing, and there's like a popcorn maker. I gotta clean that. Just literally just this cloud of dust is just on everything. It's the weirdest thing, and it's gross, and I'm constantly doing Lysol, and it's just not worth it to have them in your house. And that's why, like I said earlier, I had to move all those chickies outside, the chickies and the guineas, because I just couldn't take it anymore. But the two we have in there now, they're really not making a big dust cloud everywhere. But just keep that in mind. If you're gonna have a bunch of baby chickies in the house, you're gonna get this weird chicken dust that just will get everywhere. So I will never do that again. I'm not doing chickens unless it's summertime. I'm not hatching them unless it's summertime. Let's see, what else? What else have I learned? Yeah, I'm still learning. It's still a process. Man, these roosters though, I tell you what, they really do have personality. We have the sweetest and then the meanest. Oh, and I was really disappointed in that mean rooster. You know, I was thinking of keeping him, but because he was so mean and tough, and I thought, okay, he's gonna protect the flock, right? He's gonna hold it down. That rat snake, when it was crawling up the coop, he was just standing there watching it. And when I knocked it off with a stick, he still just looked at it. He didn't do anything. He didn't cock-a-doodle-doo. He didn't make a fuss. He didn't go after it. He didn't try to do anything. So I was really disappointed, because if that snake got in there, it would just eaten everybody, and the rooster wouldn't have cared. So now I feel like he's not really doing his job. And that's why I've really been like, nah, he's got to go, because I could get it if he was mean and protecting his flock, doing what he's supposed to. But if he can't even protect them from that snake, can't even be bothered with it, I mean, why keep him? So yeah, he's going. But that's about it that I can think of, what I've learned with these chickens. Know what you're getting. Don't go on Craigslist and think you're just gonna get some hens, because we ended up with way too many roosters. And yeah, just, you know, go to Tractor Supply. That's the best. Make sure your egg laying hens are getting protein. Mealworms are great, the live ones, and calcium. The oyster shells are working really great. And I don't recommend hatching or keeping baby chicks in your house unless it's summertime or during the winter. If you're gonna hatch them in your house, make sure it's summer so you can just make them go outside and they don't chicken dust the place. All right, guys, so that's all I got, and I will see y'all later. Bye.